Some digital products get cancelled quickly, others stay in place year after year. That difference isn't marketing, it's necessity. In this video, we're going to talk about why some digital products get cancelled and others don't, and why this matters if you're trying to build income that lasts. I'm going to go over why necessity affects pricing and retention, why recurring revenue only works for certain types of problems, and how to design a product that people don't casually remove. By the end, you'll have an idea of where your own idea sits on that spectrum, and what you can do in your business to move closer to something more stable. Let's get into it. Most people assume that products get cancelled because of price, but that's hardly ever the reason. People cancel a product when they feel it's no longer necessary, when nothing breaks without it, when their day-to-day doesn't really change, whether they have the product or not. A lot of digital products solve temporary problems. You learn the thing, apply it once or twice, and then you don't need it anymore. At that point, keeping it around feels optional, and so it's the first thing to go. That's why education products churn so quickly, because the problem that they solve has an end point. Once the pressure has gone, the product is gone too. Ongoing payments only work when the problem doesn't go away. Let's talk about ongoing problems and ongoing payments. If the issue shows up once a week or once a month and the problem doesn't go away unless they have that solution that you're offering, they expect to keep paying for the thing that handles it. That's when recurring revenue actually makes sense. This is why businesses don't question paying for the internet, or software that handles their payments, or systems that handle money, access, or delivery. When a product removes friction from happening, it stops being evaluated month to month, and the solution just stays. Let's talk about templates versus operational products. This is where a lot of digital products hit a ceiling, and one-off templates, ebooks, and one-off resources can be useful, but they usually get used once and then forgotten. There's no ongoing reason to keep them in the budget. Operational products behave very differently. They sit inside a workflow of how someone works. They get opened regularly, and they remove effort or decision making. The moment a product becomes part of someone's workflow, removing it would cause friction, and friction is what keeps things in place. No one wants to deal with a problem month after month, so they pay for a solution to keep it at bay. A simple way to think about this is like electricity that you pay for every month. People don't wake up one day and think, well, is electricity really worth it this month? They find the money to pay it because without it, things stop working. Most digital products aren't built like that. They're built to be helpful, but not necessary. The goal isn't to turn every idea into a SaaS or massive platform. That's not what I'm saying. Not every niche can support that. The goal is to get as close as possible to creating something that the customer won't casually remove. Let me give you some concrete examples. Let's take a course that teaches someone how to create a sales funnel. Once the funnel is built, that problem is largely dealt with. After that, keeping access doesn't really change anything, so it's easy for them to cancel. Or think of a template versus a system. A template gets downloaded, used once, and then sits in a folder. A system gets opened every week because it's part of how the business runs. One is helpful, the other is embedded. And embedded products behave very differently when it comes to retention. Here's another example for you. Think about navigation. A one-off map or a travel guide is used once. You check it, get to where you're going, and then you don't need it anymore. Cancelling doesn't really change much. Now compare that to real-time navigation. If your GPS stops working while you're driving, everything shuts down. You miss turns, and then you have to pull over. You feel the friction immediately. One gives you information, the other supports ongoing activity in real time. And the one that supports something that's actively happening right now is harder to remove. Let me show you in a graph to illustrate how this happens. This is what the graph is showing. On the horizontal axis, you've got problem permanence, how often the problem shows up, from temporary to ongoing to constant. On the vertical axis, you've got cancellation friction, what actually happens if someone removes the product. And at the bottom, nothing really changes. At the top, things break. Products at the bottom left are easy to cancel. Products at the top right are hard to remove. The closer your product gets to the top right, the more durable the income becomes. The goal isn't to jump straight to the top, it's to move up the scale as far as your niche realistically allows. So now you can see that all digital products are not created equal. Most products fail because they sit too low on the scale. They solve a problem once and then they're really easy to remove. The real work is understanding where your idea sits today and how to move it higher on the scale. That's exactly what we do in our 4-week product sprint before anything gets built. I'll leave some information below if you're interested in working with us on your product. Because the closer your product gets to an ongoing problem, and the more friction it removes from day-to-day work, the more stable your income will become. That's the end of this video. I hope it's been of value to you. If you have any questions, pop them in the comments below and I'll get back to you. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.